In the unforgiving geometry of a firefight, a $2,000 rifle that jams is nothing more than an expensive club. The word budget in the semi-automatic world has historically been a death sentence, synonymous with catastrophic malfunctions and shattered bolts. Today, we are shattering that myth. We are counting down the 5 most relentless semi-automatic rifles under $400 that rely on brutal mechanical engineering to completely eradicate jamming and keep you alive when everything else fails. Let us begin. Number 5. The Rossi RS-22 and Mossberg 702 Plinkster ecosystem. Born deep within massive South American industrial facilities, this platform proves that overseas mass production does not automatically equate to a mechanical disaster. It is a shared architectural foundation that delivers absolute center mass reliability at a price point that feels almost impossible. The mechanical insight hidden within this simple blowback action is a highly strategic lightning cut milled directly into the rear of the steel bolt. By intentionally removing mass, the engineers mathematically lowered the threshold of inertia required to cycle the weapon. Like a hungry furnace willing to burn scrap wood, this lightened bolt allows the rifle to flawlessly ingest and cycle a massive, unpredictable spectrum of cheap, low-velocity, 22 long rifle ammunition without suffering from stovepipes or failure to eject malfunctions. It simply works regardless of what you feed it. However, extreme cost-cutting leaves no room for error in your loading technique. The deal breaker here is the archaic design of the straight vertical box magazine. Unlike advanced rotary designs, this vertical stack offers absolutely no physical protection against rim lock. If you are sloppy and load the cartridges improperly, the rims will interlock and violently halt the forward travel of the bolt, locking the weapon up tight. Furthermore, the heavy trigger pull requires deliberate physical effort to break. It is an ultra-budget survival tool that demands your mechanical respect. Price ranges from $89 to $130. Number 4. The Palmetto State Armory PA-15 and Radical Firearms RF-15. But before we inspect these American workhorses, I have a critical tactical pop quiz for you. To absolutely prevent the catastrophic nosedive jam during rapid fire, what specific feed ramp geometry do both of these budget AR platforms utilize? Is it A. Standard rifle ramps, B. Extended M4 feed ramps, or C. Polished pistol ramps? Drop your answer in the comments below right now. I will reveal the truth at the end of the video. These rifles represent a magnificent industrial triumph. They have successfully stripped the massive centerfire power of the 5.56 NATO cartridge away from premium military contractors and placed it directly into the hands of the American citizen through sheer vertical integration and relentless mass production. The mechanical insight that elevates these platforms above early budget disasters is their absolute refusal to compromise on the internal gas system. The critical gas key located on top of the bolt carrier is properly and aggressively staked from the factory floor. This deliberate physical deformation of the metal guarantees a perfect high-pressure gas seal, violently throwing the bolt rearward and completely eliminating the short-stroking malfunctions that plagued budget AR builds for decades. Furthermore, they utilize a bolt machined from incredibly dense Carpenter 158 steel, rendering it virtually indestructible under sustained rapid-fire heat. But achieving this military specification internal reliability demands a heavy aesthetic sacrifice. The deal breaker here is the severe lack of exterior refinement. The anodized aluminum finish is often rough and chalky to the touch. The factory trigger pull is notoriously gritty and heavy, and you will frequently experience a noticeable physical rattling between the upper and lower receivers. They are ugly, unrefined utilitarian tools built to fight, not to be displayed in a glass case. Price ranges from $350 to $499. Number 3. The Hi-Point 995 TS Carbine. This platform is a masterclass in brutalist engineering. It is undeniably ugly, possessing the aesthetic grace of a cinder block, but it carries the apocalyptic survival pedigree of an armored tank. When you demand a 9mm platform that absolutely refuses to die, this is the unavoidable answer. The mechanical genius of this weapon lies in its complete rejection of expensive, complex machinery. Instead of utilizing fragile locking lugs or intricate delayed roller mechanisms, it relies entirely on the raw, unyielding laws of Newtonian physics. It features a massive, violently heavy bolt cast from Zamac, 3, which is a high-density zinc alloy. The sheer resting inertia of this massive block of metal is so profound that it safely resists the expanding high-pressure gases of the 9mm cartridge, delaying the breech opening until the bullet has cleared the barrel. Because there are practically no delicate internal parts to break or shear, it can survive absolute neglect and extreme torture tests that would destroy a $2,000 competition carbine. However, this indestructible nature comes at a severe ergonomic cost. The deal-breaker here is the physical interface between the weapon and the operator. The magazine geometry is notoriously stubborn, requiring a violently aggressive physical strike to the base plate to ensure it seats properly and locks into the magazine well. If you fail to strike it with force, the bolt will close on an empty chamber. Additionally, the skeletonized stock design has a notorious reputation for biting into the cheek of the shooter during recoil, making it a physically punishing weapon to operate for extended periods. It is a raw, unrefined, blunt instrument of survival. Price ranges from $244 to $399. Number 2. The Winchester Wildcat 22. This platform is a brilliant modern challenger that dared to strike directly at the decades-long undeniable throne of the Ruger Empire. It represents a total revolution in the tactical mindset of personal weapon maintenance. The mechanical genius of this platform directly attacks the greatest enemy of the .22 long rifle, which is severe carbon fouling. While other rifles require a toolbox and complex bench surgery to clean, the Wildcat allows you to strip the weapon in exactly 3 seconds. By simply pushing a single bright red button, the entire lower receiver, including the trigger group and bolt assembly, drops completely out of the bottom of the rifle. This grants you immediate, unobstructed access to the breech, allowing you to aggressively scrape away the hardened carbon rings that cause catastrophic extraction failures without ever damaging the delicate crown of the muzzle. It even features a rotary magazine with a manual tension wheel that prevents you from crushing and deforming the soft lead bullets during the chaotic loading sequence. However, this extreme focus on weight reduction comes with a psychological cost. The deal-breaker here is the overwhelming presence of injection-molded polymer. Weighing practically nothing, the weapon lacks the comforting physical density of traditional steel and heavy walnut. When you handle it under stress, it can feel alarmingly hollow and toy, like failing to provide the heavy tactile feedback that traditional marksmen heavily rely on to stabilize their aim. It is a polymer marvel of rapid maintenance. Price is approximately $250. Number 1. The Ruger 10-22 Carbine. This is the absolute eternal king of the survival landscape. For over half a century, it has maintained total unyielding dominance over the rimfire market, completely crushing its competitors through sheer mechanical superiority. While other platforms struggle to feed the notoriously dirty .22 long rifle cartridge, this weapon stands as an indestructible monument to American engineering. The absolute core of its flawless reliability is the brilliant architecture of its proprietary 10-round rotary magazine. Unlike traditional vertical box magazines that force cartridges to violently stack on top of one another, the Ruger rotary system utilizes an internal spring-tensioned rotor. This mechanism physically isolates each individual cartridge in its own angled pocket, completely separating the brass rims. By eliminating vertical stacking pressure, this magazine makes the catastrophic rim lock malfunction a physical impossibility. Furthermore, it utilizes hardened cast steel feed lips rather than cheap injection-molded polymer, guaranteeing a mathematically perfect feed angle that will not warp or degrade even after decades of continuous use. It cycles with the relentless rhythm of an industrial sewing machine. Because it operates on a heavy solid steel, simple blowback design, the only maintenance it truly demands is a clean breech. For operators who demand absolute infinite reliability under the worst possible survival conditions, the platform allows for rapid drop-in upgrades like aftermarket tool steel extractors, completely ensuring that a spent casing will never stovepipe and trap the returning bolt. It is a masterpiece of survival utility that simply refuses to jam when your life or your next meal depends on it. Price ranges from $190 to $369. The answer to the Palmetto State Armory pop quiz is B. They utilize extended M4 feed ramps deeply cut directly into the aluminum receiver to smoothly guide the projectile into the chamber and prevent catastrophic nosedives. In a violent confrontation, the color of your rifle or the logo on the receiver will not save you. Only raw mechanical reliability will keep you breathing. Learn your weapon master its internal mechanics and subscribe right now so you are never caught unprepared when the fight comes to your door.